Hey, fantasy football friends. So first off this week, let me just apologize in advance. There's apparently some roofers next door who are banging and making loud noises. And so if you're hearing that, that's what it is. And they're apparently not fantasy football fans. Don't care. So weird. I don't understand those people. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on this week. Obviously, the big news is Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin and that trade to the New York Jets from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I think this is great news for Percy Harvin owners because Seattle, I don't think, gave Percy the opportunities that they should have. And now the Jets have a bright, shiny new toy, and trust me, they are going to take it out of the box and they are going to play with it. Rex Ryan is going to enjoy changing some of his game plan to accommodate Harvin in the lineup. So I think Percy Harvin owners are going to be really excited with the change and the uptick in fantasy points for him. And I think Geno Smith owners, if there were any, would be very happy too. But let's be honest, there are no Geno Smith owners out there. And if they are, wow, you must be really desperate. Anyway, I think that for the Seattle receivers, I don't think this changes much of anything. It might give some of those new guys like Paul Richardson an opportunity to get some fantasy points and to be a little more playable. But we'll have to see exactly what they do. They haven't been a real pass-heavy offense as of yet, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's talk about the waiver wire this week. Quarterbacks. I love Carson Palmer. I like what he's doing out there. I think he's got a good matchup this week. So if you can grab Carson Palmer, I think that he is a great option if you need to fill that spot. Running backs. Running backs right now, gosh, this has been a crazy year for running backs. Lots of injuries, as we know. We talk about this every week, it seems. And so, again, in Buffalo, there's some new opportunities there. I actually picked up Bryce Brown. I really like him a lot. I know a lot of people are going Dixon. They like Anthony Dixon. But Fred Jackson himself said that he believes that Bryce Brown is an every down back. And to me, that speaks volumes. And so I picked him up. I'm going to have him on my bench this week and just watch what he does. But I think we're going to see him move right into that lead back role. And then that'll give me my third lead back so that I so desperately need. So he's a good one to pick up. And also, if you didn't get him, and you lost Fred Jackson or CJ Spiller, then Dixon could be a good option for you as well. Let me see. I also like Isaiah Crowell this week. Isaiah Crowell, okay, he only had 1 point last week. I'll give you that. But they are playing Oakland this week. And Oakland just gave up 32 points to Arizona, including 2 touchdowns to the backup running back, Stephon Taylor. So I really like Isaiah Crowell for you if you need to stream a running back. Going to wide receivers. Wide receivers also difficult. It's getting so thin out there. But, you know, those Seattle receivers are now good pickups. Jermaine Kearse probably the best. If you want to pick up Paul Richardson and put him on your bench and see if they start to play him a little bit more, I think that's a good call. I also like Cordarrelle up in Minnesota with this week's matchup. And I picked him up this week too and think that he might get some good stuff in there. Let's see. I still like Eddie Royal, although the matchup is not that good this week. Now, a lot of people are wondering, they're looking for running backs and looking for running backs. Now, a little tip for you. The problem with the running backs out there on the waiver wire is that they're not lead backs. They're getting very, very few touches. And so if you're looking for that flex position you can fill with either a wide receiver or a running back. My personal philosophy is I'd rather put a wide receiver in there that I know is on the field more and is going to have more opportunities to score points for me. So instead of going with a running back that might be the backup to, say, DeMarco Murray or to any of your big lead backs, I say pick up a wide receiver that's going to have a good matchup this week, like if they're playing against the Jaguars, or if they're playing against Oakland, or if they're playing against the Panthers. Some good options out there for you. I like that better than just picking up a backup running back. So that's my advice there for that. Defenses this week. I really like the Bucs versus the Vikings. Now, both teams, the Vikings and the Bucs, are giving up points to the opposite team's defenses a lot this year. And the Vikings are actually averaging 13 points that they're giving up to opposing Ds this week. That's pretty good, especially considering the fact that defenses have been all over the board this year, and we've talked about that earlier. So those are my options for you on what to pick up. So let's talk about my starting lineup this week. My starting lineup, I didn't talk about my badass of the week and my doghouse. Okay, so badass of the week this week. Surprise, surprise, it's once again, I bet you guessed it, DeMarco Murray. It's hard not to give him the badass of the week. I mean, come on. The guy, actually, the reason why he got it is because he went out of the game injured towards the second half and then came back to score more points for me and still ended up getting 18 points for that game. That, to me, is a badass. Somebody who gets injured, goes off the field and into the locker room and comes out and says, you know what? I'm not done yet. Rosalie needs more points. So there you go. So he is my badass of the week. But I'm going to give a few shout outs to Torrey Smith this week. He did a great job for me as well. Okay, doghouse. Doghouse this week, sadly, I had to go with somebody, and I love this guy, but he only scored 2 points for me this week, and that was Eddie Royal. I expected him to do a little better, and he didn't. So sorry, Eddie. Doghouse. I hope you're not in there long, because I really like you. I really do. Okay, so let's talk about my lineup this week. I am starting Carson Palmer. See? I put my money where my mouth is, because I keep telling you guys to pick him up, and I'm actually starting him in place of Drew Brees again this week. So, Carson Palmer. DeMarco Murray is a no-brainer. Brandon Oliver is a no-brainer. Kendall Wright. Torrey Smith. Cordarrelle Patterson, because I picked him up because he's got that matchup against Tampa Bay, and I like it. I like it a lot. Rob Gronkowski. I'm taking the Texans D against Tennessee, but I may change my mind and pick up that Bucs D. We'll see. Matt Prater is my kicker. And then on the bench, I have Drew Brees, Wes Welker, Delaney Walker, Roddy White, and I picked up Bryce Brown, and I'm interested in seeing what he does this week. So that's my week. Until next week, I hope that you score lots of points. I hope your players don't get injured and they remain suspension-free. Until next week.